everybody, welcome back to TechOdyssey. So today I'm here with a look at the OnePlus 10 Pro, the black sheep of the phone industry, especially going into 2022, especially starting off of the piggyback of jerry-rig everything, snapping it in half. I don't think that's a big issue. I haven't had any problems with it, and clearly mine has not shattered in half. And also, I'm not going to German suplex the phone and try and snap it in half. So you're probably going to be okay there. Just a little bit of reassurance. Now, when it comes to the phone, a lot of people seem to have a bit of a negative connotation about it, especially as the phone was getting ready to come out. And since it also launched over in China, and this phone actually came out several months ago, and it's just now making itself for the global launch in the US today. So, how do I feel about it? I've been using this phone for a week now. I've got my SIM card in it. I'm on AT&T. That means I don't get 5G. And that's something that you should be concerned about if you are an AT&T customer. It's kind of frustrating because the phone does support 5G. If you use it on Verizon, if you use it on T-Mobile, you get 5G, not on AT&T. Very, very curious situation. Also, if you're buying a carrier model, then you're okay because here in the States, carrier models get IP68 dust and water resistance. If you buy the unlocked model, it doesn't get IP68 dust and water resistance. There's a lot of things that really are kind of head scratching when it comes to this phone, especially also the fact that with this fancy 32 megapixel camera on the front, you can only record at 1080p at 30 frames per second. Not even 60 frames per second, no 4K. So a lot of the claims about this phone, though, are pretty on par. It's very powerful, very fast, very fantastic. It has all-day 5,000 milliamp battery life. I've been very happy with it. I like the screen on it, and traditionally I've kind of liked the OnePlus phone screens the best. There's iPhone, which of course has 120 Hz with ProMotion now. Then we have Samsung that has 120 Hz at Quad HD Plus, and now this one does too. I mean, the last ones did as well. They've had it for a while. In fact, the OnePlus 7 Pro was the first one in the States, if not the first mainstream phone to have a 90 Hz refresh rate. So these guys over at OnePlus are no stranger to having a enhanced refresh rate on the phone. It's been something that I've really appreciated since I went all the way up to New York for the launch of the OnePlus 7 Pro, which was when I really kind of started to develop appreciation for the brand. Prior to that, I wasn't a really big fan. So, things you need to know about this phone. It's got a 6.7-inch HDR10 Plus. It's got 1300 nits brightness. It gets nice and bright. The average nits is about 800, which is perfectly fine for just about any situation. You can turn it up if you're outside, if you're having trouble seeing it. It doesn't get as bright as the iPhone or the S21 Ultra when you have the peak brightness scenarios, but anything over 1,000 is perfectly fine. I'm not going to sit here and quibble over a couple hundred nits when it gets over the 1,000 nits of brightness. It's perfectly bright. It's a very, very, very beautiful screen. I love the colors on it. I love the saturation. I love the vibrancy. It's just a nice phone to use, and the screen is a really enjoyable display. I like it a lot. And you've got the little 32 megapixel hole punch camera up there. It gets the job done. In the camera department, you've got a 48 megapixel primary, a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and then you've got an 8 megapixel telephoto capable of up to 3.3 times optical zoom. The zoom is perfectly fine. It's nothing like you're going to get with the Samsung that's out there, but it's very competitive, I think, with the rest of the Android space because I know it seems like Samsung's the one that prioritizes the most, but you can reach out and touch stuff, just not quite to the extent that you could with the 100 times zoom on Samsung. It's kind of hard to compete with that. But in the regular camera department, solid pictures. I do like the color saturation. I like the tone. I like the sharpness. I've always enjoyed the OnePlus cameras, and I took a lot of photos last year with the OnePlus 9 Pro with that one. And the reason that's relevant is because it's basically, it's the same cameras this year, but all they did is they did some increasing stuff, some refining, some better processing with the AI, computational photography, when it comes to the Snapdragon 8 Generation 1, because that's one of the big selling points for the new chip this year. In addition to that, you got the 32 megapixel selfie camera. Not the greatest in the world, but it's very, very capable. You can take some good shots with it. It's just very weird that on the back end, they prioritize the regular camera, 8K video, 4K up to 120 frames per second, 60 frames per second. And then the front-facing selfie camera, you get 1080p at 30 frames per second maximum. Why can't they put some extra effort into that? It's been the same for years. It was the same with the 9 Pro. It was the same with the 9, same with the 8. You get the picture. They put all of this advertising, all of this thought and emphasis on these cameras back here and always neglect the one on the front. And more people are using the one on the front because of all the stuff you get with Instagram and TikTok and Reels and YouTube Shorts and all the short form content. Everybody is using their selfie camera nowadays. You can do plenty with this one, that's fine, but it loses out to Samsung and Google and also to the iPhone. So stereo speakers, which I think are perfectly good. And then you got this mute switch over here, which has 3 different settings: on, vibrate, and silent, which is really nice. I don't know why more Android phones don't have it, but OnePlus is still rocking that, and I like it a lot because all you have to do is just flip the switch. You can do it in your pocket. You can feel it. You can touch it. You don't need to worry about pulling your phone out, having the brightness all the way up, turning the screen. You don't have to do any of that crazy stuff. So I do like that. I appreciate that. I'm glad that OnePlus still has that. So things that are missing in this phone: you don't get an SD card, so that's not fun. You don't get a headphone jack, so that's also not fun. And the IP68 dust and water resistance is questionable depending on unlocks or carrier model, at least here in the States. Kind of irky. But you do get a 65-watt charger included in the box here in the States, and you get an 80-watt outside the United States, and that is just insane because you can get a 100% charge on this thing in less than 40 minutes. In fact, you can get a 50% charge from 0 to 58% in like 14 minutes, which is just mind-blowing that you can even do that. So this phone is special in that regard. It's really unlike most anything you can get here in the United States. It's better than the Samsung, better than the iPhone, and that's something that OnePlus has always prided themselves on, is their warp charging. It comes with their very noticeable red cable like they always throw in there, and it comes with the charger. I'm very happy about that, especially since Apple doesn't give you a charger, Samsung doesn't give you a charger, Google doesn't give you a charger. I mean, I could keep going. So I'm glad that OnePlus still does that. And again, internationally, if you get the 80-watt charger, it's supposed to do 1 to 100% in like 32 or 34 minutes. It's something incredibly crazy. So yeah, good job there at OnePlus. So overall, the phone, I like it a lot. The thing is a lot of people try and compare it to the S22 Ultra, and they just aren't the same phone. The S22 Ultra, of course, being $1199, and I've got it right here. I've been using the S22 Ultra as well. I took my SIM card out of this one a while back. I haven't got a lot of time with it lately because I've been testing all these new phones. But when you put the OnePlus 10 Pro versus the S22 Ultra, I think that it holds its own in power and gaming as far as the camera capabilities go. This phone fills a really important block for me because the S22 Plus really kind of let me down in a couple different areas. It didn't have the same quality screen as the S22 Ultra. It doesn't have the ability to scale down the refresh rate on the phone to save some more battery. It doesn't have a Quad HD Plus display. There's just certain things about it that kind of irk me for a $1,000 phone. Enter stage right, or stage left, this guy, the OnePlus 10 Pro, it does. It has Quad HD Plus, 120 Hz refresh rate, and it's just beautiful. So it compares really well. It's $100 cheaper than the S22 Plus, and that's where I think this one falls in line really well. You've got the Pixel 6 Pro at $899, you've got the OnePlus 10 Pro at $899, and then you've got the S22 Plus at $999, and then the S22 Ultra at $1199. So I think it falls squarely in there pretty well, and that's the thing. If you added $300 more of hardware in here, yeah, I think it would compete really well with the S22 Ultra. But you've got the S Pen over here. They've basically taken over the S22 Ultra series and turned it into the Note, which a lot of people I think are happy about. But that's not something we need to worry about in OnePlus world. And also, whenever it comes to the OnePlus 10 Pro, it has Oxygen OS on it. But the thing is, it's not the same Oxygen OS you remember from a couple phones ago, or the OnePlus 9 Pro when it came out. They merged it with Color OS, which is Oppo's version. They fall into the same branch. And I actually have it right here. This is the Oppo Find X5. It's running Color OS. And then you've got the OnePlus 10 Pro. It's running Oxygen OS. But they're very similar. And a lot of people are complaining about it, but it's still zippy. It's still fast. I still enjoy it. It's Android 12. I haven't had any problems with it. You're not going to get as good as software security patch updates as you do with the Pixel or with Samsung or with iPhone. But OnePlus is kind of there in like 4th place. They still give them to you every once in a while, but they're not quite Johnny on the spot, which is kind of frustrating because they're pretty good with operating system updates, just not security patches. They're weird. Also in the wireless charging department, it has 50-watt wireless charging. So if you get a compatible charger, you can recharge it quick, fast, and in a hurry that way. This is blazing fast when it comes to recharging things because if you think a lot of the phones, 25 watts for most of them, you might get 30, you might get 45. We're talking 65 watts in the States, 80 watts internationally, and 50-watt wireless charging. So I think that's pretty impressive. something I'm very happy about when it comes to this phone, because in the event that you run low on battery, you can get half the battery back in like 15 minutes. It's really a crazy thing. You plug in the charger and you can watch the numbers go up while you sit there. You could sit there and stare at it for 10 minutes and you're going to get like 35, 40% battery. It's just unreal. Other things about the phone, just to gloss over them real quick: 128 gigs of storage, 256, or you can get up to 512. No SD card. If you want one of those, that's kind of the way things are nowadays. There's pretty much no SD card in anything. That's a flagship phone. So it's very, very frustrating in that regard. But at $899, I do think it's a fair price. There were some people saying that they're out of their mind for charging that. But when you look at what Samsung gives you at $999, which is less than this, I think they make a fair argument for themselves at $899. You want a flagship phone with the Snapdragon 8 Generation 1, that's pretty much what you're going to pay. So I don't really have any heartburn there. I'm glad it's not $999. I'm glad it's not over $1,000. I thought that was a big swing and a miss on their part last year, so they did learn something, but I still think that they're kind of slow playing it, and we're going to see what happens this fall with the OnePlus 10 Ultra. Now that it doesn't have to compete with the actual Note series device, I think we'll see something a little bit more exciting this fall, but for now, the OnePlus 10 Pro, I think it's a good phone. I think if you want to go buy it, you'll probably be happy. Again, just concerns: if you get an unlocked model, no IP68. If you buy it and want to use it on AT&T, no 5G. And it also doesn't have millimeter wave. I meant to say that earlier. If you care about that, this isn't your phone either. But otherwise, for any other reason, you'll probably be happy with it. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I will get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button, and a little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.